All right, we'll call the meeting to order, the hearing. See if we can't run through this. Rather than going through all the budget lines sheet by sheet, unless you have any particular objections to the budget, then speak out now. It'll save going through all of them. It's very time consuming. Who would like to go first? Let's do it in reverse order. Commissioner Bruins?
Well, I believe they still have the 2 raises in there, and I still feel like if not one person gets a raise, everybody gets a raise. So that's where I stand on it.
Which 2 raises are you speaking of?
I believe the treasurer's office had a raise and the emergency manager.
You agreed that as long as there was an emergency in place, and we have to budget for the full year. Otherwise, if the budget goes the full year.
Right.
Okay, so what's the question there?
Well, I didn't think they wanted to go that way. Is that approved? Did that?
What you said was that if there's an emergency in effect.
Right.
Then we want to pay the extra money to the emergency management coordinator.
Yeah, we did say that.
And if you don't budget a full year's pay and the emergency ceases to end, then there's no money budgeted to pay with.
So do we need to
have to budget for an entire year.
That's how it's paid out? Do we need to make a motion that that's how it's paid out, or?
I thought we did that last week.
Is that clear?
I thought we did that last week, that as long as there's emergency in it.
We said we're going to talk about it later, I think. That's what you said.
I thought you made a motion to that effect. I've slept since then. If you want to make a motion, you can certainly do that. But that's what we all agreed on. We were going to pay that extra $1,000 as long as there's an emergency disaster in it.
And we did agree with that.
Right. So you have to budget
for
a 12-month period in order to cover that if this lasts. And the other one in the treasurer's office?
Yes, sir.
Is an issue also?
Yes.
Okay. Brian, you want to read a letter from Christina?
I've got a letter here that my chief deputy asked for me to read to the court. On Monday, August 24th, 2020, after Commissioners Court meeting, Edwards approached Judge Bennett and told him the reason he wouldn't vote for the raise was because he had heard I was not here or Brian may be padding my timesheets or something to that effect. On Tuesday, August 25th, 2020, Treasurer Howard told me that the conversation with Mr. Edwards, Judge Bennett, after Monday evening. We turn around.
You want these?
Yes, that would probably help.
Okay.
He wouldn't be voting for my raise because he heard Brian was padding my timesheet. Edwards also told Bennett he has people watching me. Wednesday, August 26th, this is the letter from my chief deputy. Commissioner Edwards came to the 3rd floor to drop off paperwork next to the door of the auditor's office. The office was closed for lunch, and my door was open. I called him over to let him know he would return at a later time. I offered to take his paperwork, and I did let him know I would turn it in for them. While Commissioner Edwards was here, I invited him to my office and asked him to have a seat because I needed to talk with him. I told him the reason for talking to him was because I was told that he, Edwards, told Bennett that his reason for not voting for my raise was because Brian was padding my timesheet. Immediately, Edwards denied it, and he said he never said that. Then he said Brian and Bennett always just trying to get him into trouble. And I said, well, that was what Bennett told Brian. And why would Bennett say it if it wasn't true? Edwards then said, well, I never said that. So I asked Edwards, what did you say? He said that Edwards, knows I'm not clocking in. And I said, yes, I am. I always clock in and out. I rarely miss a punch. He said he passes by in the morning and my car isn't here at 8:30. And then I told him that's because my schedule is 9 to 5, no lunch. I explained my work day is 8 hours. I don't leave once I'm here unless I have to leave for a doctor's appointment or errand, but I clock out for it always. I explained that my reason for staying during lunch is because employees take a lunch at noon and sometimes need to come see me for human resource reasons. So this is why I have made myself available. He replied he didn't know that, but that makes sense. Then I proceeded to give him my job details about all the work I do. I did this so he'd know I didn't sit up here waiting for the clock to pass. I stay very busy. I told him I love my job. I'm very proud to be doing this job, but this job is definitely for two people. And I told him, y'all cut a helper 2 years ago. I'm very proud to be doing this job, but this definitely is, I'm sorry, with the same line. And I told him, y'all cut my helper 2 years ago and still expect the same job performance out of this office. Well, that's what I do. I work hard, and without the raise, I will still be the same Christine that you've known before. Then he proceeded to tell me he feels uncomfortable having this conversation because he didn't want anyone just walking in on him. Not sure what that meant, but he says he hates Brian and Mike because of what they tried to do to him. He said they tried sending me to prison. My response was, all I ask for, you have a doubt about my timesheet, all you have to do is ask for them and look at them. Look at the clock in and out. Just like Brian did in his investigation on you. When you do it on me, but don't go by hearsay. When he tells me he has a hard time sleeping at night because of all the fighting in court, and that he is a Christian man, and this is all really tough on him. He never signed up for this. Then he tells me he hates Brian so much. He says, I hate him so much, if he were on fire, I wouldn't piss on him to put him out. My response was, that's a lot of hate. So let me ask you this. When I proceed to ask him, this is why you won't vote for my raise? Because you hate him so much? He paused and said, yes, I'm sorry I feel that way, but partly yes. When he says he knows this is bad and was wrong, and that he needed to do some soul searching, and that he would rethink his feelings about this, but he wasn't sure if it would change. Then he says, I guess you could say this is mostly why I came out and vote for your raise. My response is, well, that's not very Christian, but I understand. Once I heard him say this, I heard the elevator coming up, and I thanked him for meeting with me, and he left.
Well, that's not why I said that.
Sorry?
That's not why I said she shouldn't get a raise. My reason was we have 100 and something other employees, I'm not counting the elected officials getting raises. I'm talking about you have 100 and something other employees that have been cut back in their offices. I understand that, yeah, she has been cut back in her office. There was a part-time and a full-time. My guys are the same way. I used to have 4.5 guys. They're cut back, and I got one of them been there 30 years. He stuck it out. I mean, he makes $22 an hour, I believe.
I explained this to y'all before. Y'all cut a position out of office. You give her a dime. You could have gave her $2 when you saved a $55,000 a year job. I've never heard of anybody getting more work dumped on them and not get a little bit of compensation. Not asking for a lot.
We did the same thing in the precinct.
$2.50 raise. All I'm asking for.
We did the same thing in the precincts. And I'm sure there were some other offices that got cut back too, but
I haven't seen that.
same thing.
I haven't seen that.
It was before you were here.
But if JP2 and JP1's people got raises, they didn't even get more work dumped on them. They just got a raise.
It is. I agree 100%. Two of them got raised, nobody else did.
Make a decision on who you like, who you don't like, who's in your clique, who's not, is not, and not taking care of the county's business the best that you can, I think is wrong.
Well, I think the other 100 employees do the same
Make
job.
a decision who you like and don't like is totally wrong.
I think the other,
That's all I can say.
the other 100 employees are doing the same thing. They're taking care of their job and they're working hard, so.
So what other issues do you have, Mr. Bruns, other than the 2 pay raises?
Sir?
What other issues do you have other than, okay, Mr. White?
I don't have any issues other than Christina's raise, and I'm gonna make this because I've heard all this nonsense before. We cut it wasn't a full-time and a part-time, there's 2 full-time positions in that office. We cut one of them, didn't give her anything. We give 2 constables, or 2 of the JPs, their secretaries, we moved them up to be administrative assistants so they could get a raise. Nobody else got one but them 2. So, I mean, what's fair about that? Just to give them a title, to give them more money? I mean, that's not the way you do business, but that's what y'all did. You turn right around and y'all decide this, and it's nonsense. The lady does 3 times the work, and she's there all the time. So, only thing I got is, this is nonsense. I mean, we give 2 people a raise, we can't give her one. We decide to give everybody a 3% raise when we're broke. I mean, you give longevity, which, you know, if you can afford it, that's fine. When you can't, you shouldn't do it. But we give longevity, and we did that, had a 9-year limit on it, and then y'all turn around and vote to give it unlimited. So now you can just get as much as you want. I mean, let's get there. This is not fair to that girl, and I think we ought to give her the raise. And if you don't like your guys not making no more money, give them a raise. Quit stealing through giving them lunch and paying them through lunch. Yes, you are, and I've got proof that, and I don't want to have to go there, but you paying them through lunch while they sit at Dairy Queen eating.
You got proof?
Yes, I do.
Where is it at? Is that the mug shot I got last week?
I don't know about a mugshot, but I got a time sheet.
There's a lot of them
I seen
there.
it with my own eyes.
Is that what I got last week?
No, I seen this with my own eyes.
Okay.
But again, if you want to give your guys a raise because you don't think they're making enough, give them a dadgum raise, but quit this nonsense.
Mr. Morales?
My feeling on it is just like, you know, nobody else is getting a raise. None of the other 120 employees are getting a raise. If the rest of them were getting a raise, I'd go for it. But the rest of the employees are not getting a raise, so I'm not going to go for that. I know everybody works hard. I know all that. I've heard it. I've seen it. I know they all work hard. They've got extra work put on them, but that's the time.
Mr. Edwards?
Commissioner Morales pretty much echoed the way I feel about this. I mean, giving this employee more money is not going to make the workload go away. And you got to think about the rest of the county, the rest of the employees that aren't getting a raise. So I would not.
So are you good other than the raise?
Sir?
Are you good other than the raise?
I don't really.
Christina?
Wait, what?
Are you good on the budget other than the raise for,
Other things.
sorry?
I have a couple other things.
Okay, give it to us.
On the on the revenue line, we don't have anything showing that we're gonna have that GLO grant,
Then we're gonna have what, sir?
the GLO grant or the Tech Stock grant. If that money comes in, we're gonna need a line to put it in, won't we? Rusty?
And I should have said something.
Sir?
I just-
I think I said during the last committee report meeting that we were gonna set those up on separate budgets of their own to avoid confusion on revenue in your budgets.
I understand, but I just thought we ought to have it on here somewhere.
No, because they're gonna go to a separate budget. Separate,
I got that.
okay?
And there's no taxes involved, so
That has nothing to do with setting tax rates, grants. There's gonna be several grants.
So you're gonna set them up as the money comes in, is that correct, Chris? Is that what you're saying?
Or as soon as I know what the dollar amounts are gonna be and what it's for, I can go ahead and do
When
it.
they come in?
Do you think the commissioners should have some say so in the budget for these grants?
Mr. Bob Monty, you're out of line. You're out of line, sir. I'm gonna ask you not to talk until you're recognized. I'm gonna ask that of you. Because we're having a discussion with the Commissioners Court, which you're not part of. Sir?
I was moved that.
Sheriff?
Ask-
Sheriff?
I asked that he speak. How about that? I can say that, right? I think what he wanted to explain was, when we did the search deal, and that was right when I got in, Ted had already set it all up. They gave us a revenue side and an expense side for both precincts, or all four precincts. And it was a way for us to keep up with our expense, that's all. I think that's what Kenneth is asking.
The revenue is gonna be a grant line item.
Right, yeah, it was,
The expenses are gonna be set up based on what the money can be used for.
right.
Every grant's different, they're not the same.
It had its own line number, yes, and it was labeled
It'll
search,
be a totally separate department.
just so we can keep up with it, is what I'm,
You're gonna have to.
you're right, yeah, okay. That's all I'm interested in.
Along with all the others that you need.
Go ahead, Mr. Edwards.
On my, road and bridge expenses, I have a special project. Is that gonna be used as money coming in as we pay the bills for this work done? But does that need to be in there? Then if we're gonna have a special.
You're looking at your
It's,
special?
669, 171, 669.
What number he say, one?
669,
Oh,
171669. 21, that way down there from the bottom, about 41.
Special or the regular?
During the special,
Regular,
Regular.
not special.
page 37.
I got you. All right. Special projects,
Special project.
okay.
Special project. Regular have along the side list.
Page 37.
There's a zero balance in that account.
I understand. And that's what I'm asking, is if as money comes in, for this work done on these grants,
Again, a grant is will be treated totally separate. Trying to put it in this budget is gonna mess things up.
well, that's why I'm asking. So we,
Again, the grants are totally separate. They will not be included in your regular or special programs in any way, shape, or form.
we'll still be able to see how
You will have a sheet similar to this with a different department that has the revenue from the grant and then the expenditures that are allowed per grant. You don't get to pick those line items. It's gonna be what the grant says that money can be used on.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
Not that I-
Can I say something while he's looking? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The only other thing I want to be clear on is that considering the way that we've had our budget this year and the way things have gone, I want to again say, I just feel like if we can't give everyone a raise, no one gets one. That's my feeling.
Mr. Morales? I'm sorry, were you through?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
I'm good other than the raise.
Okay. Mr. White?
Well, I'll go back to the raise. I think one of the constables that gave up her insurance, because she has insurance through another company, willing to do this to help this lady out. And we got 3 commissioners sitting up here won't do a dadgum thing. That's pathetic. That's all I got to say.
Mr. Bruns?
One thing is, I got no notification about this meeting tonight until my wife saw it on Facebook last night. So, are we gonna,
You sent me an email saying you were going to be out of pocket between the 2nd and the 7th.
that's correct.
We have a budget that's due on the 30th of October, 31st of October. 30th September, excuse me. And
No, I'm not.
this is the next available date. We posted this on the bulletin board. It's been on the website. We have done our appropriate notices in the newspapers. I don't know how else to inform you.
We used to get emails that we were having a meeting and with the agenda. I'm just asking if you could please do that.
It's on the website.
But the agenda wasn't on the website, I don't think.
It's not on the website.
It had a date that there was a
It
meeting.
probably is. We note,
I can't say, I didn't click on the
we've done
date.
our best to notify everyone about all these meetings. We posted it in all the required legal spots, and I'm sorry you didn't get notified. I don't know what else to say about that. So, it appears that the majority of the court is willing to pass this budget as is, with the exception of the raise for the assistant treasurer. Is that correct?
Do we need to make a motion and vote on that, or what?
Well, we will. We'll get there. So we'll have a vote on the budget, and we will strike the raise. We will strike the raise. So it's going to be a voice vote. It's required. Commissioner Edwards?
Am I going to see the completed budget after we strike the raises?
He will make that change with the treasurer unless, is that all? That's the only change you're requiring, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need a voice vote to record. It's required. How do you vote,
We need to
sir?
make a motion to accept this, or?
Need a motion to carry the vote through. Need a motion.
I make a motion, we accept this budget with the, treasurer's assistant, taking out her raise and.
Need a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. So we're going to strike the raise for the assistant deputy treasurer, and the budget is passed. Let's work on the tax rate. much is it gonna affect it? Taking that raise out is negligible, so we'll vote on this tax rate.
I'll be right back.
You're about there. You're about to speak.
While we're waiting, Alicia, you wanted to make a public comment. This would be a good spot for it. You'll come up to the microphone.
I'm Alicia Cowley, and I want to talk briefly. I know I'm not going to impact the budget this year, but you guys need to hear some of this information. I want to talk about the EMS budget and the overtime that's incurred in that. And let me tell you why I think I have a right to speak to this. I ran for decades a health department, an emergency department that was open 24/7, 365, and I know how hard that is to pay. But my budget was $3 to $5 million, and I was held to that. And my overtime could never accomplish what you guys have faced. Let me tell you this, you got three of the biggest budget departments in this budget. Sheriff's Department's number one. Number two is the non-departmental. Y'all know what's in that. Insurance premium, outside audits, lots of stuff in their appraisal district. And then right behind is EMS, number three. San Antonio is looking at making a budget for next year that says it is expected 4% less income due to COVID. It has impacted businesses everywhere. It's going to impact us. This budget that y'all are passing is going to be crucial to this community next year because we've got not a lot coming in. You should plan on 5% less. You should. The thing I like and appreciate about the Sheriff's Department is that it prints reports. It provides the community reports in the paper, calls and what they were for, people arrested. It provides information and it's transparent, and I appreciate that. I don't see it with EMS, and we deserve that. Guys, y'all know that you're paying 16 hours of overtime every pay period to everybody. Do you also know that you're picking up 24 hours for 4 staff members on top of their 16? You're paying so much overtime on the 7th shift. You've got 48 on, 48 on, 48 on, and then the kicker. And whoever works that last 7th day is making a fistful of money. And let me put this disclaimer in here. I'm not looking for privatization of our EMS. And there are two sides to this coin. One is health care. EMS is good. They know us. They provide lots of care to all of us. They have bad dreams over some of the care they give here. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the business side of healthcare. We hired you. We didn't just vote for you. We hired you to run the business of this county in a business-like manner. This overtime could be handled. And it's not just the building they're staying in. Because I've seen lots of EMS buildings that were barns on the side of precinct yards. And you're not going to get a new building here in a year and a half. You're not going to get a building here in 24 months. You haven't even made that step towards that with money. So let's not talk about what it takes to get EMTs here. Did you know we pay more than Victoria? Our EMTs get paid more than Victoria. Did you know that we pay more than Beeville? Our EMTs get paid more than Beeville. We pay well enough to get people here. We need some strong leadership, and we need scheduling handled cut down on the overtime, because y'all are talking about raises. It's sitting there going into overtime.
Man.
I appreciate everything that EMS personnel do for us. What I don't appreciate is the business side of healthcare that falls on these tables. It needs to have clear reporting to those of us who are paying those tax dollars. We need to know how many calls they've got, how big events happen. Are there policies and procedures updated? I know that sounds like trivial stuff, but it's not. And we need commissioners working together to look at how best we can do the business of this county as it impacts the third highest department we have. Thank you.
You're not through. So when we spoke the other day, you told me that the way to eliminate this problem is to hire another crew, hire up a half a crew, so that you've got the last crew of the week is not on overtime, and you save a tremendous amount of money. Maybe $200,000 a year.
Well, I put a figure to it, but you can save significant thousands of dollars if you hire a half crew.
Do you see that as a workable? Any other things you'd like to speak about?
I think I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So the solution is hiring another half crew, and you eliminate the overtime on the last schedule of the week. Save us a tremendous amount of money. You're the liaison. I don't get to participate in it. I would like to, but the way it's going, it's not going to work. And everybody will get a rude awakening if and when that power plant finally shuts down out there. It's going to be a rude awakening to everybody in this room here. And we need to start figuring out how to operate efficiently. We are not currently operating efficiently.
But there again, I've been told that they're just not knocking down the door, coming to work here. They gain one and fill the staff up, and then they lose one. And that's just what I'm told, so. And every time I go down there, there's new faces. I mean, it's
not because of the pay.
Evidently, it ain't.
No, I don't think it is either. I just think that it's just, I don't know. It's like oil field, I guess, that they have turnover. I don't know. Employment turnover. Because,
I brought Alicia in to look at this problem because she's got experience. Quite honestly, I think we need her help on the schedule.
I think it'd be a.
She's willing. She's available. She's seen the movie. And the way we're doing it is just not working for us.
Breaking the bank.
And you're the liaison.
I know, but, well, what else can we do? I mean,
where's our reports? I mean,
well, we got a little thing going on down there right now.
Reports were not coming before that little thing occurred.
We used to get reports and,
the scheduling is the issue.
Can I be recognized because we're violating?
Excuse me, just.
Do you mind if I be recognized and let you know you're violating you?
Okay.
Not to comment on public forum, not to have discussion. This is an agenda.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate it. Rusty will be back with the final tax rate number here in just a second. We'll move on.
Somebody else wants to comment.
Jimmy, come up here.
may be a little unusual, but I would like to address the commissioners here that the EMS has been handling our COVID counts. About 4 weeks ago, we know what happened. Jose got sick, okay? We were 100 plus behind. And I'd like to thank Mr. Morales' wife, Pat, that she had helped get us back caught up. We've been working on this for 4 weeks, he and I, and it's taken a lot of time. But we are actually ready to access 140 reports, and our numbers are up to date. I want to thank you.
And what is our total number of cases we have now? 6?
We have 6 active, 153 to recover, 3 deaths, and 160 total cases. We're going to have a few more, but we're getting better.
Not bad. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say while we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs? All right, continue to twiddle.
The one that, this one, that's supposed to be the one. Right, well, this should be.
He's coming now.
Thank you, Rusty.
Mm-hmm. This is the one that we voted on, right? That's the one you filed, that's the last one you filed? Right.
That's just, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I'm gonna let y'all pass this. I just made one copy. Y'all can look at this. Okay, what I did was, I changed that salary back down to the 35,000. I don't have it in front of me, whatever that sheet is.
This one's a different one, though.
But there's one change I made on that one too, but let's do the treasurer's office first.
Oh, I don't have that one.
They give you 2 sheets.
Gave me 2, but I handed one to him.
Okay, well, that's the treasurer.
I don't have, that's the only one I have.
You don't have any. I mean, we can share it.
Really,
What I
all
did,
we need
let
is
me
cover
tell you what I
sheet,
did.
right? All we need, really need is a cover sheet. We've all
I just
agreed.
want to tell you all the changes that I made.
All right.
When you change your salary, it's gonna change your social security, and it's gonna change your retirement.
Right.
So those three line items will change on the treasurer's office. And then I went ahead and made the change to the constable for the 3 months of insurance that will cover him for October through December of this year. Because we've changed it to zero. Like I told you on my email, we've got to provide 3 months of insurance. So I added 3 months of insurance to that line item. In doing that, then it shows, or the new calculation for the general fund tax rate is 0.689076. Special remains the same at 0.077440 for a combined tax rate of 0.766516. And what you're voting on is a tax increase. The, no new revenue tax rate this year was the 0.723174. The voter approved tax rate is 0.753529, and the de minimis tax rate is 0.777990.
The reason it's a tax increase is because there was more revenue raised. It's actually about a half a cent less than we're paying currently in the budget we're in today. But because the revenue, the appraisals were up and the revenue is greater, then it counts as a tax increase, although we're paying a little less than we were last year. Because more revenue, we have more higher appraisals, to put it simply. So, all right, need a motion to adopt the combined tax rate of 0.766516.
That has to be a voice vote, doesn't it?
Yes. Need a motion to do that, please.
I make a motion, we adopt the combined, Goliad County tax rate at 0.766516.
Need a second on that, please? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 0.766516 is our new tax rate. Need a motion to adjourn, please. So moved. Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. We're adjourned.